Welcome back to OCN Rigs. We're here with Vince in his 1968 Ford Bronco. Vince, what's going on, man?
Pleasure to be here, Blake.
Yeah, good to meet you, man. Thanks for bringing us a vehicle.
Absolutely.
I love these, and yours certainly has a unique story. Tell us a little bit about the history of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this is quite a unique Bronco. It's a one-family Bronco, third generation now. Been in Colorado basically its whole life. My grandfather bought it brand new in 1968 from Phil Long Ford in Colorado Springs. You know, when my grandfather passed away, my father inherited it, and he had it for 25 years. And you know, I finally talked him into about 3 years ago, you know, letting me have it and starting to do a little restoration on it. And so that's kind of where it's at.
Cool. So let's dive into some of the technical details. You said you worked on a lot of the restoration work yourself, right?
Correct.
Okay,
yep.
Cool.
And originally it was a work truck. I mean, my grandfather kind of ran it to the ground. He delivered mail for many years in southern Colorado, northern New Mexico, and these weren't just highway miles. They were some rough roads, you know, rural places.
Yeah.
So he ran it till it basically stopped. And then when my grandfather passed and gave it to my dad, you know, my dad always tried to get it running, you know, and you know, unfortunately life happens and, you know, projects kind of go to the back. And like I said, I kind of convinced him 3 years ago, said, hey, you know, can I get it up here and start restoring it? Which we did, and we got it up here. And, you know, I kind of went through it piece by piece and, you know, did what I can in my garage. And, you know, it was a cool project with my son. My son's 8 years old.
Awesome.
And so he really enjoyed being in there and doing what we can. I'm not mechanically sound by any means, you know, but these old trucks are pretty easy to kind of tear apart and put new pieces on. And so, you know, we did what we could. We did the suspension in our garage. We did the brakes in our garage, stuff of that nature. And then, you know, it kind of needed all new wiring, plumbing, you know, engine, transmission work, and that's kind of where we trust the pros on that.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely. Well, I've heard this thing when you started it up. Can we pop the hood? Check
Yeah,
out the
absolutely.
engine? Cool.
So originally this had a 289 in it, and like I said, my grandfather ran it pretty hard.
Yeah.
And so the decision was, you know, do we rebuild it and keep it original, or do we kind of go new engine, crate engine? And that's kind of what, you know, talking to my dad said, you know, let's go new engine with it. And so what we put in it was a 306 cubic inch blueprint crate engine, you know, a Bronco edition manufactured engine. It's also got the Holley Sniper EFI on it.
Okay.
You know, we added long tube headers, which were tough to fit in this little kind of area here. Went with MagnaFlow exhaust and dual exhaust out the back.
Sweet.
So pretty excited and happy with kind of how it came out. In addition, we added power steering. We got power front brakes up front. Still have original brakes in the back.
Okay. So pretty cool hearing that you kept some things stock, some things more resto mod, because I know it's helpful just from a drivability standpoint.
Yeah,
do you
absolutely.
drive it quite a bit then too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's kind of the plan with it, is to, you know, not just let it be in the garage, and you know, I want to drive it and kind of, you know, when it's nice out obviously, and kind of have a daily driver with it.
Cool. Wheels and tires. You mentioned something pretty unique about the wheels and the hub. Tell us about the
Yeah,
the wheel
so
setup.
the wheels are factory Ford 15-inch steel wheels.
Okay.
And they're original to the Bronco.
Cool.
You know, when choosing hubcaps, you know, I love the look of the original Bronco hubcaps, and I have some of them. But you know, I really wanted to show off the wheels because I love the look of the color and just the steel wheels. And so I chose a smaller hubcap. It's from a '51 Ford Custom Coupe, actually.
Cool.
Unfortunately, those weren't four-wheel drive cars, right? So I did have to kind of modify and cut out the front for the hub. But I'm excited with the way they came out. I just love the look of the dog dish hubcap, you know, and still showing the white wheel. So.
Absolutely. Paint. I don't even want to touch it. Looks incredible. It almost, from the original photos, looks like it's pretty much original in terms of color. Yeah.
So we, you know, the goal was I wanted to stay original color. Unfortunately, it was difficult to find. You know, the VIN tag that's original with the Bronco had everything stamped on it but the color code. Fortunately, the top had never been off our Bronco, you know, and this thing had faded a lot, the original color.
Yeah.
So when we took the top off the Bronco for the first time, you know, in 50 plus years, underneath on the quarter panels, it was almost original paint. And so, you know, probably called in 3 or 4 different color codes from Ford to try to match the color. And none of them really looked the same, you know, from the Broncos, from the pickup trucks. And the one that was the closest was actually a '66 Mustang color, and the color is Ember Glow. And so that's the color we went with.
like
Super
it.
pleased with it. Try to
yeah.
keep it original. I'm not quite sure it is original, but I mean, I am really, really pleased with the color. I love it.
Great work.
And then on the top, it's actually Wimbledon white. So that is
Okay.
original color that
Cool.
the Broncos came with. Same thing with the wheels, same thing with the roll cage and the dash.
Cool.
We went Wimbledon white. When we were putting the transmission in, one of the things that the guys are telling me is the size of this thing is really messing with the pitch of the engine because of the size of it.
Okay.
And so they wanted to really build up this middle console here,
Okay.
and it'd be really high.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we kind of compromised on was we put a 1-inch body lift in addition to 2.5-inch suspension lift.
Level it out a
so it
little
kind of
bit.
leveled
Okay.
it out without having to, increase the middle console.
I like the roll cage painted to match. Was that was your doing after? Right?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
So it's an aftermarket roll cage. It's a 6-point roll cage. The cool part about it is it's a little bit unique in the fact that it doesn't have the roll bars all the way to the floor.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's got these side brackets that attach to the really side of the dash.
Okay.
And one of the reasons I chose that one is because the park brake where it's at, and then the dimmer switch where it's at.
Okay.
A lot of times when you go roll bar all the way to the floor, you don't have the ability to use
Gotcha.
either of them.
Gotcha.
So this is a nice aftermarket product from Tom's Bronco Parts out in Oregon.
I love the CB radio too.
Yeah, so that was something I always wanted to have and always wanted to put in. I've always been a big fan of Smokey and the Bandit.
One of my favorites
and
too.
Dukes
Love
of
it.
Hazzards,
Yeah.
and I grew up watching that stuff, and they're always on the radio, always on the CB, and to see those big antennas whipping in the wind is always cool, and I love the look of it. And so I threw an aftermarket CB radio in here. And, my son asks, is that a walkie-talkie? No, it's a CB. But,
Now that steering wheel is really cool.
yeah, so it's a billet steering wheel.
Okay.
Kind of a Bronco special. I did keep it parchment white. It's kind of got a half grip on it where you're able to change out the face plates. So the visor is actually, it's one of the things that actually has a pretty cool, unique story to it. Is as we're kind of going through the interior and replacing pieces, I've replaced the door panels, I've replaced, the seats and the upholstery on the seats. Looking at these things, I asked my dad. I said, "Hey, why are you writing on this this visor?" And he said, "That wasn't me." He said, "That was Grandpa."
That's so cool.
One of the things that I said, "Hey, I can't take that out," and it might look a little old, and it might kind of, not match everything on the interior, but that's one of the things I'll never change.
Have a piece of him on the truck.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, it's
cool.
got his handwriting on it.
Thanks for showing us your Bronco. Man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. This thing is incredible.
Appreciate
It's
it.
even
Thank
cooler
you.
up close. Any projects that you're working on it now?
No, I think no project's ever done.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you know that. So they're just little things that we'll continue to add here and there, and see where it takes us.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Guys, check him out over on Facebook. He's a part of those early Bronco Colorado Facebook groups. Check us out over at OCN Rigs. Check us out on Instagram. We'll see y'all next time.